The hidden world beneath the cosmic storm that no human was meant to discover. The universe had many secrets, but only a few were ever meant to be found. Most hid within silent stars, frozen planets, or empty darkness. But some secrets were alive, breathing, waiting, and watching. The greatest of these lay beneath the largest and oldest cosmic storm known to science, the Maelstrom Rift. It was a swirling mass of violet, black, and gold energy stretching thousands of light-years across space. No probe had ever survived entering it. No drone had returned data. Every attempt ended in static or complete disappearance. Yet humanity was curious. Curiosity had always pushed them forward, and sometimes too far. When the starship Artemis 12 arrived near the Maelstrom Rift, no one expected they would uncover something hidden for billions of years, something no human was meant to see. Captain Lyra Henwick stood at the main screen with her hands behind her back. She stared at the swirling storm that looked like a living monster. No matter how many times she saw it, she could never get used to its shifting colors. They twisted like giant serpents made of lightning. "Anything from the outer sensors?" she asked. Lieutenant Rowe checked the readings. He frowned. "Nothing. Same as always. The storm blocks every signal. No electromagnetic leaks, no gravitational windows, no pattern recognition." "Like it's hiding something," Lyra whispered. The crew of Artemis 12 was chosen for one mission, to get as close as possible to the storm's center and find out why it behaved like no natural phenomenon. Some scientists believed it was a dying star cluster. Others thought it was a gravitational wound created by something that existed before time. And a few believed it was alive. Whatever it was, Artemis 12 was the first human ship with strong enough shielding to enter its outer bands. Dr. Cale Voss, the team's astrophysicist, stared intensely at the storm. "Look at the fractal pattern along the eastern arm. It's changing, adapting. Something inside is reacting to us." Lyra didn't like that. "Are you saying it knows we're here?" He hesitated. "I'm saying it feels aware." The ship moved slowly toward the edge of the Maelstrom Rift. As they crossed the threshold, every light flickered. The hull groaned like a whale singing in deep water. The crew grabbed their seats as turbulence shook the ship. "Shields at 80%. Rowe shouted. "Compensate with external stabilizers," Lyra ordered. Outside, lightning made of glowing plasma slashed through the darkness. Massive waves of cosmic dust rose and crashed like an ocean made of stars. The ship drifted downward, deeper into the swirling storm. Dr. Cale stared at the readings. "Captain, this storm isn't random. It has structure. It's organized." "Organized how?" "Like a maze." The deeper they traveled, the calmer the storm became. Instead of chaos, the cosmic clouds around them began forming curved paths. They twisted smoothly like tunnels carved through light. "It's guiding us," Cale whispered. "But why?" Lyra asked. No one answered. Hours passed, though they felt like days. The ship finally broke through the final layer of swirling energy. The crew gasped as the turbulence ended abruptly. The view outside cleared. No one spoke for almost a full minute. Because beneath the storm, hidden from the universe, was an entire world. A massive sphere floated in a calm pocket of space. It looked artificial, smooth, metallic, perfectly round, and glowing faintly with blue lines running across its surface. It was larger than Earth's moon but smaller than a planet. It rotated slowly, as if waiting. Lyra whispered, What is that?" Cale's eyes widened. "A megastructure, maybe billions of years old." "How is it hidden inside a storm?" Rowe asked. Cale swallowed. "The storm isn't hiding it. The storm is protecting it." A metallic whisper echoed through the speakers. The ship suddenly received a signal, something no probe had ever successfully transmitted. "It's talking to us," Rowe said. "Can we understand it?" Lyra asked. Cale shook his head. "It's beyond any known language. But it's transmitting in patterns, as if inviting us." The hidden world glowed brighter. The ship descended toward the massive artificial sphere. As they approached, a circular door opened on its surface like an eye waking up. A platform extended outward, forming a landing pad. "Captain, are we really doing this?" Rowe asked nervously. "We came this far," Lyra replied. "Prepare for landing." Artemis 12 touched down gently. The platform felt stable, though it hummed softly under their feet. The door ahead opened into a long corridor made of glowing metal. Lyra led the landing team, Cale, Rowe, and 2 engineers. Inside, the air was breathable. That terrified them more than the storm. Someone, or something, had prepared this place for visitors. Or perhaps it had been ready since the beginning of time. The corridor led into a massive hall shaped like a sphere. The walls were covered with shifting symbols. In the center floated a large crystalline structure pulsing with faint light. Kale approached it. This is the energy source. It's ancient, older than our galaxy. Suddenly the hall lights brightened. And a voice spoke. It was not heard with ears. It echoed inside their minds. You have entered the Vault of Origins. Lyra froze. Who said that? I am the Archivist. The crystalline core brightened, and the symbols on the walls rearranged, forming pictures and scenes. The Archivist's voice was calm but carried unimaginable age. This is the last sanctuary of the first makers, the ones who shaped the early universe. Kale gasped. The first makers, the legendary primordial engineers, they were only myths. Myths are memories of truth, the Archivist replied. The walls lit up again. They saw visions of enormous beings made of light carving galaxies with their hands. They shaped stars like potters shaping clay. They built worlds and seeded life across the cosmos. But then the images darkened. A great calamity came, the Archivist said. A storm born from the death of a primordial star. It devoured everything. Lyra whispered, the Maelstrom Rift. Yes, the Archivist said. It was created to hide this vault from the storm. To protect the lost knowledge of the makers. Rose stepped forward. Why reveal yourself to us now? The Archivist paused. Because the storm has grown unstable. It is no longer a guardian. It has become a threat. The hall dimmed. The structure pulsed faster. The Maelstrom Rift is collapsing, the Archivist said. And if it collapses, it will tear a hole through space itself. Lyra felt her chest tighten. How long do we have? Days. Perhaps hours. Kale trembled. What can we do? You were not meant to discover this place, the Archivist said. But now that you have, you must carry its message. You must warn your kind. Warn us about what? Lyra asked. The images on the walls shifted again. They saw stars blinking out. Galaxies unraveling. Worlds collapsing into nothing. The universe is older than you think, the Archivist said. Its foundations are weakening. The storms are symptoms of a greater decay. Kale whispered, entropy on a cosmic scale. The makers tried to stop it, the Archivist continued. They failed. But maybe your kind will succeed. Ro asked, why us? The Archivist glowed brighter. Because you are young. And the young always find new ways to survive. The ground shook suddenly. The storm outside roared like a living creature. Go, the Archivist commanded. The rift is collapsing faster than predicted. Lyra shouted. Everyone back to the ship now. They ran through the corridor. The humming grew louder. Lights flickered. A deep groaning echoed through the entire sphere. The landing platform cracked. Move! Lyra yelled. They jumped into the ship and sealed the hatch. Artemis 12 lifted off just as the platform shattered into floating pieces. Full power to engines. Lyra shouted. The ship shot upward toward the swirling storm. Behind them, the vault glowed brighter and brighter, as if trying to hold the storm back one last time. But the storm surged inward, dragging everything with it. As they reached the upper layers of the storm, vortexes opened around them like giant mouths ready to swallow the ship. Shields at 40%. Ro yelled. Hold it steady. Lyra ordered. Lightning tore across the hull. The ship spun wildly. The storm was collapsing inward, dragging space with it. Kale held onto his seat. Captain, if we don't escape now, we'll be crushed. Ro, give me everything the engines have. Lyra shouted. The storm's walls tightened like a closing fist. But then, a beam of blue light shot upward from the vault. It pierced the storm's core, pushing back the collapsing energy. Is the Archivist helping us? Kale asked. Yes, Lyra replied. It's giving us one final path. The beam opened a narrow tunnel through the storm. Artemis 12 fired its engines and raced upward. The path began closing behind them. Faster! Lyra cried. The ship burst out of the storm just as the tunnel sealed shut. The Maelstrom Rift collapsed in on itself with a silent flash, shrinking into nothing. The Vault of Origins was gone forever. Silence filled the ship. Everyone sat frozen, shaken, breathless, and unsure if they had actually survived.
Kale finally spoke.
We lost the greatest secret in the universe.
No, Lyra said softly.
We carry its message now. Rose stared at the empty space where the storm once was.
Do you think anyone will believe us? They have to, Lyra replied.
Because if the archivist was right, this is only the beginning. The ship sent a long-distance transmission to Earth, containing everything they learned. As the message traveled across space, Lyra whispered to herself. We were not meant to discover that world, but now that we have, we must protect everything it tried to save. 3 weeks later, scientists on Earth detected something strange. A small storm, just like the Maelstrom Rift, was forming near the edge of the solar system.
Quietly, slowly, growing.
And humanity realized the archivist was right. The hidden world beneath the cosmic storm was gone. But its warning had only just begun. 3 weeks after the collapse of the Maelstrom Rift, Earth's scientific community was in chaos. Satellites captured images of a glowing vortex forming at the edge of the solar system. It was small, only a few hundred kilometers wide, but it was growing every hour. Its colors twisted exactly like the original storm: violet, black, and gold. The world governments denied everything at first. They said it was a natural magnetic disruption. They said it was harmless. But Lyra and her crew knew the truth. On the Artemis 12, Lyra watched the new storm from the ship's telescope feed. It looked like a warning, like a single spark before a wildfire. Kale entered the bridge, carrying a tablet filled with calculations. Captain, he said quietly, the storm is expanding faster than predicted.
How fast? She asked.
Within a month, it will be the size of Jupiter.
Lyra felt cold. And after that? Kale hesitated.
It may keep growing until it swallows everything. Ro turned from his console. Earth still doesn't believe us. They think we're exaggerating. Show them the data again, Lyra said. They need to understand.
Kale sighed. I've sent the data 20 times.
They say it could be sensor errors.
It's not an error, Ro muttered.
It's the end of the beginning. 2 days later, Artemis 12 received an urgent call from Earth Space Command. A large holographic screen appeared, showing Admiral Rowan's stern face. Captain Henwick, he said, your report troubled many people.
I imagine, Lyra replied. The Admiral sighed.
We reviewed your evidence again. And we confirmed the new storm is real. Ro whispered, about time. Rowan continued, we need Artemis 12 to return to Earth orbit immediately. The United Planetary Council wants to question your team in person. What you discovered may be the most important information in human history.
Kale leaned forward.
Admiral, with respect, questioning us won't stop the storm.
We need a plan. Rowan nodded. Agreed.
But we can't make a plan without understanding what we're facing.
Lyra took a slow breath. Very well. Setting course for Earth.
The Admiral's image faded.
Kale looked at Lyra.
Do you think they'll listen? They have no choice, she said. The universe is changing. When Artemis 12 reached Earth orbit, the crew was brought to the Council's main chamber. Hundreds of representatives from different nations and colonies filled the hall. Screens around the room displayed images of the growing storm.
Lyra stepped up to the podium.
We discovered a hidden megastructure beneath the Maelstrom Rift. Inside it, an ancient intelligence, the archivist, told us the universe is weakening. The storms are symptoms of a deeper decay. A murmur spread through the hall. One counselor stood. Captain, do you expect us to believe some ancient voice in your head? Kale answered calmly. It projected its information directly into our minds.
We saw visions of the early universe.
We saw what the first makers built.
Another counselor scoffed. And now that storm is gone?
Convenient, don't you think?
Rose stepped forward angrily.
The storm collapsed because the archivist sacrificed itself to let us escape. Its energy was holding the rift together. Without it, everything fell inward.
The hall grew silent.
Lyra added, and now, a new storm has appeared on our doorstep. If we ignore this threat, it will consume the solar system.
An elderly scientist rose slowly.
Captain Henwick, if these storms are part of a larger cosmic decay, then we are facing something far bigger than a natural disaster. Yes, Lyra said. This is a universe-wide problem. The hall erupted into arguments and debates. But the truth had already taken root. back aboard Artemis 12, Kale stared at the ship's monitors. Captain, we're receiving a signal from the new storm. Lyra rushed to the screen. From the storm? Is it the archivist?
No, Kale said. The pattern is different. More complex.
And the frequency is extremely low, almost like a heartbeat.
Translate it, Lyra said. Kale ran the signal through every decoder they had. Then he froze.
Captain, the signal isn't a message. What is it?
Kale looked pale. It's a countdown.
Ro turned from his console. A countdown to what?
Kale swallowed.
To the moment the storm reaches critical instability. How long?
Lyra asked.
31 days.
The room fell silent.
31 days until the storm erupted, or collapsed, or did something else entirely. And humanity still had no idea what that would mean. We need another source of information, Kale said later.
The archivist told us the makers failed.
But maybe there were other vaults, other structures hidden across the galaxy. Lyra stepped closer. You mean there might be more megastructures like the one beneath the rift?
Yes, Kale replied.
Maybe one of them holds the knowledge we need.
Ro frowned.
But how do we find something hidden by beings who could shape galaxies?
Kale held up a tablet.
The archivist left behind fragments of coordinates in my mind. I didn't realize until now.
Lyra's eyes widened. You have a map.
A partial one, Kale said. But it points toward a star system on the outer edge of human exploration. Then we go, Lyra said decisively.
Ro stared at her. Captain.
Earth will not approve this mission. The Council wants us grounded.
Lyra smiled faintly.
We're not asking for permission. Late that night, Artemis 12 disconnected from Earth's docking ring. The crew moved quietly, shutting down external lights and muting all transmissions. Engines at minimal output, Ro whispered. We're invisible to ground radar.
Lyra sat in the captain's chair. Take us out.
Slowly. The ship drifted away from Earth, gliding like a shadow across the stars.
But then, a voice came over the ship's speakers.
Artemis 12, this is Space Command.
You are leaving without authorization.
Return immediately.
Lyra closed her eyes.
They spotted us.
Kale looked at her.
Do we turn back?
She shook her head. No.
If we return, humanity loses its only chance.
Ro increased the engine power.
Then we run. Earth's defense ships activated.
Missiles armed. Engines roared. Hang on. Ro shouted.
Artemis 12 burst forward, slipping into deep space before the defense ships could catch up.
They were now fugitives. But they were also humanity's only hope. Hours passed before the crew relaxed. No one was chasing them anymore. Kale entered new coordinates.
The system we're heading to is called Hellion 9.
No human ship has ever gone there.
What do you expect to find?
Ro asked.
Kale stared at the stars. If my memory is correct, another vault. But one far older than the first.
Lyra looked determined.
Then we go. The universe won't wait for us.
The stars stretched as the ship entered faster than light travel.
Behind them, the new cosmic storm continued to grow. Ahead of them, the unknown waited. And somewhere in the dark, an ancient secret, older than galaxies, was waking. The journey to Hellion 9 was long and silent. 4 days, Artemis 12 traveled through empty space where no stars shone brightly. The farther they went, the darker the universe became. Even the stars looked older here, as if time itself was weaker. Rose stared at the fading starlight outside the window. It feels like we're leaving the living universe, he whispered.
Kale nodded. This region is barely mapped.
Gravity waves behave strangely here. Light bends in impossible ways.
It's like space is tired.
Lyra sat in her chair, watching the sensors. Stay focused. We came here for answers.
Kale walked to her side.
Captain, I've been thinking about what the archivist said. If the universe is decaying, then these dark regions might be the first signs.
Lyra tightened her jaw.
Then we have even less time than we thought. Suddenly, the sensors beeped. Ro looked up. Captain, we're approaching Hellion 9. Everyone moved to the main screen. Before them lay a dim, dying star surrounded by 3 planets. But something else floated near the 3rd planet, something large, geometric, and glowing faintly blue. Kale whispered, another vault. The structure near the planet was shaped like a giant cube, cracked and broken in several places. Unlike the vault under the cosmic storm, this one looked dead, or asleep. "It's not emitting any signals," Rose said.
Lyra leaned forward.
"Any danger?"
"Nothing active," he replied.
"It's completely silent." Kale studied the readings.
"The cube is older than the last vault, far older."
"Millions? Maybe billions of years older."
Lyra stood. "Prepare for landing."
"We don't know how much time we have before Earth's storm grows worse." Artemis 12 approached the cube. Massive open fractures revealed its hollow interior. They slowly entered through a wide fissure and descended onto a floating metallic platform. Lights flickered weakly as they disembarked. Kale touched one of the glowing lines on the wall. "The energy patterns are similar to the vault beneath the rift, but damaged."
Ro pointed ahead. "There's a corridor. And something's glowing in there." Lyra led the group inside.
They entered a huge hall filled with broken pillars and shattered crystal structures. Dust floated like frozen snow, untouched for ages. In the center was a single intact crystal, the only part of the room that still glowed strongly.
Kale gasped.
"This must be the core."
Kale stepped forward cautiously. "The core is in dormant mode.
Maybe it can still communicate."
"How do we wake it?" Ro asked.
Kale touched the crystal's surface.
It reacted instantly.
A shockwave of blue light swept through the hall, restoring symbols on the walls and repairing cracks in the floor.
Lyra stepped back.
"Is this good?"
Kale didn't answer.
The crystal pulsed again. Then a voice echoed through the hall, weak, distorted, but alive. "Identify," Lyra said firmly. "We are explorers from Earth. We seek knowledge about the storms."
The voice trembled.
"Earth, young world, unstable timeline."
Kale whispered, "This core is damaged.
Its memory is fractured."
Lyra spoke louder.
"Please, our universe is breaking apart.
We need to know how to stop it." The core flickered.
"Impossible, decay cannot be reversed." Kale clenched his fists. "There must be something the Makers tried, some method they attempted."
The core lit up sharply.
"They tried, many times, all failed, only one attempt remained."
Rose stepped closer.
"What attempt?"
The core dimmed.
"The last configuration."
Lyra frowned. "What is that?"
The core hesitated, then projected a hologram into the air. The crew saw a strange machine, a towering structure made of spirals, spheres, and flowing light.
Kale stared in awe.
"A dimensional stabilizer, capable of slowing universal decay."
The core flickered again.
"But it was never completed." Lyra whispered, "Why not?" "Because the Makers died before they could activate it." The core suddenly dimmed, and the hall began to shake. Rose shouted, "Captain, the vault is unstable."
Kale rushed to the core. "It's trying to access damaged memories."
"It can't handle the load."
He pressed his hand against the crystal.
"Let me help."
Lyra grabbed his arm.
"Kale, what are you doing?"
He looked at her desperately. "The core communicates telepathically.
"If I connect my mind to it, I might help stabilize the transfer." "That's insane."
Rose shouted. Kale replied, "We're running out of time.
"If this vault collapses, we lose our only lead." Before Lyra could stop him, Kale pressed both hands on the core. A column of light erupted and swallowed him. He screamed as visions flooded his mind. Galaxies collapsing, stars unraveling, Makers building and dying, storms forming like wounds in space. Lyra shouted his name, but she couldn't reach him. Kale fell to his knees as the visions intensified. The light slowly faded. Kale collapsed forward, gasping for breath. Lyra caught him, holding him tightly.
"Kale,
talk to me."
His eyes glowed faintly blue. I saw everything," he whispered.
"The Makers, their final plan, the last configuration."
Ro crouched beside him.
"Did you get the activation instructions?"
Kale nodded weakly. "Yes. But it's not just one machine. It's a network. Dozens of stabilizers across the galaxy. Each connected.
Each necessary."
Lyra closed her eyes.
"Then we need to find them."
Kale shook his head.
"No, we need to build them."
Ro stared.
"We don't have technology like the Makers."
Kale lifted his hand slightly. It glowed again.
"We will, if I can use what the core placed in my mind." Lyra's heart raced. What did it place in your mind, Kale?
He looked at her with fear. Blueprints. Equations.
Designs that no human mind was meant to hold. Lyra whispered, "Can you handle it?"
Kale shook his head slowly.
"I don't know."
The core began to collapse.
Cracks spread across its surface like a spiderweb. Lyra yelled, "We need to go. Everyone back to the ship." They ran as the hull crumbled behind them.
Beams of blue light exploded from the core.
The ground shook violently. Kale stumbled, still weak.
Lyra supported him. Ro looked up in horror.
The whole vault is falling apart.
Metal shards rained from the ceiling. The walls broke apart like dry glass.
At the last second, they leaped into Artemis 12 and sealed the doors.
"Launch!" Lyra shouted.
The ship blasted out of the vault just as the entire cube shattered in a silent burst of light, scattering its fragments into space. No one spoke for several minutes. Kale sat in silence, staring at his glowing hands.
Lyra touched his shoulder gently.
"Kale, what did the core do to you?" He whispered, "It gave me the burden of the Makers. And if I fail, the universe ends."
Back on the bridge, the crew stared at the distant stars.
Kale said softly, "The last configuration is the only chance we have. If we build it, we might slow the universal decay. If we don't, the storms will spread everywhere." Ro asked, "But how do we begin?"
Kale closed his eyes.
"We need material that doesn't exist in human science. Something called primal lattice. It can only be found in dead star cores."
Lyra nodded.
"Then that's where we go next."
Ro turned to her.
"Captain, we're facing the end of everything. Do you really believe we can do this?"
Lyra looked at both of them.
"We are the only ones who can even try." Outside the window, the darkness of space stretched endlessly. The journey ahead would be harder than anything they had faced. But the fate of the universe now rested in their hands. The journey to find the primal lattice began with a single destination. The Graveyard Belt, a region of ancient dead stars drifting like silent giants in the dark. Artemis 12 glided through the area slowly. Broken planets, burnt star cores, and shattered asteroids floated everywhere. The remains of collapsed suns glowed faintly, like dying embers. Rose stared at the screen. "This place feels haunted." Kale whispered, "These stars died long before Earth even existed."
Lyra kept her eyes forward. "Stay alert.
This region is unstable."
Kale studied his tablet.
Primal lattice only forms in the oldest star cores. Cores that survived collapse without turning into black holes.
Ro frowned.
"Are you saying we need to find a star that's dead, but not dead enough?" "Exactly." Lyra said, "Then let's find it." They moved deeper into the belt, weaving between massive star fragments. Even the ship seemed to feel the weight of the ancient silence surrounding them. After hours of scanning, Kale finally pointed to the screen.
"There.
That star." Everyone stared at the huge spherical object ahead. It wasn't glowing like a normal star. It pulsed softly, like a heart beating once every few seconds. "That core is still active," Kale said.
"Barely."
"That pulse, that's the lattice reacting." Lyra commanded, "Ro, approach slowly." As Artemis 12 neared the core, strange vibrations resonated through the ship. Lights flickered. The hull hummed as if something were calling to them. Ro tensed. "Captain, sensors detecting unknown waves."
Almost like sound. Kale placed his hand on the console.
"It's communicating."
Lyra stared at him.
"The star core."
Kale nodded.
"The Makers used primal lattice because it has memory. It stores impressions, energies, and thoughts from its formation."
Ro shivered.
"So this thing has been whispering for billions of years." Kale stepped closer to the screen. "If we can extract some, we can start building the first stabilizer."
Lyra gave the order.
"Prepare a mining drone. Use remote extraction."
They deployed a small drone toward the star core.
It moved slowly, extending robotic arms to drill into the outer surface. The moment it touched,
the star core sent out a violent pulse. Alarms blared.
"Drone systems failing."
Ro shouted.
Kale shouted, "The lattice is rejecting mechanical tools. It doesn't respond to machines, it responds to consciousness."
Lyra turned sharply.
"Meaning what?"
Kale took a deep breath.
"Meaning someone needs to make contact directly."
Ro gaped.
"You want to touch the core?" "That's suicide."
Kale shook his head. Not physically. Telepathically. The core from the vault imprinted something into me.
It allows me to interface with Lattice.
Lyra grabbed his arm.
Kale, you almost died last time.
I know, Kale whispered.
But if I don't try, we'll never get what we need. Rose said quietly. Captain, if he's the only one who can do it.
Lyra clenched her jaw.
Kale, I'm not losing you.
Kale put a hand on her shoulder.
You won't. But the universe will lose everything if we don't try.
Lyra hesitated.
Then she nodded. Kale entered the ship's psionic interface chamber. It wasn't originally designed for telepathy, just deep neural simulations, but Kale had reconfigured it using the data in his mind.
Blue lights lit the room. He strapped himself into the chair.
Start the link.
Ro connected the chamber to the drone. Link established.
You're connected to the drone's sensory input.
Good, Kale said.
Now open the channel to the Lattice. Lyra activated the system. We're with you, Kale.
Kale closed his eyes.
Instantly, he felt himself drifting toward the star core, not physically, but in a field of memories and energy. The pulsing light enveloped him, filling his mind.
He heard whispers. Thousands of them.
Ancient voices, old as galaxies. Who seeks the Lattice? Why do you disturb our rest? You are young, too young.
Kale's mind shook. He felt himself drowning in the voices. Lyra saw his body trembling. Kale.
Pull back if it's too much. But Kale whispered, not yet.
He projected his thoughts outward.
We seek the last configuration.
The universe is dying.
We need your help.
The whispers grew louder. Then, silent.
A final voice spoke, deep and slow. If you take the Lattice, you take the burden of the Makers. Kale replied, we already carry that burden. The star core pulsed once, softly, like a heartbeat of acceptance.
Light poured into Kale's mind.
He screamed as knowledge, energy, and essence surged into him.
The drone opened.
A glowing crystal, pure primal Lattice, was gently released into its chamber. Kale's eyes snapped open. He gasped, shaking, drenched in sweat.
Lyra unstrapped him immediately. Kale, are you okay? He nodded weakly.
The Lattice gave itself to us.
Ro checked his vitals. Your neural patterns unstable.
You absorbed too much energy. Kale whispered, there was no other way.
Lyra held his hand.
Rest. We'll handle the rest.
But Kale shook his head. No.
The Lattice showed me something else.
Both Lyra and Ro stared at him.
What did it show?
Lyra asked.
Kale's eyes filled with fear. The storm growing near Earth isn't the real threat.
Ro frowned.
Then what is?
Kale's voice trembled.
The storm is waking something.
Lyra felt her stomach sink.
Waking what?
Kale looked at them slowly.
A being older than the Makers. With the primal Lattice secured in a containment field, Artemis 12 left the graveyard belt behind. Kale recovered slowly, though his body still glowed faintly with Lattice energy.
Lyra sat beside him.
Kale, what do you mean something is waking? Kale answered softly. The storms are not just symptoms of decay. They are also openings. Windows into layers of reality older than our universe. Lyra whispered. You mean the storms are doorways?
Yes, Kale said.
And something is on the other side.
Ro called from the bridge.
Captain, incoming message from Earth. Lyra and Kale rushed to the console. The screen flickered. An Earth officer appeared, terrified. This is Space Command. We need Artemis 12 immediately. What happened?
Lyra demanded. The storm has changed shape. It's expanding faster than light.
And something is emerging from it.
Lyra's blood ran cold.
Something?
The officer nodded shakily. It looks like an eye.
A massive eye made of light. Kale's face turned pale. It's already waking, he whispered. Lyra looked at her crew. We have the Lattice.
We have the knowledge.
Now we must build the first stabilizer.
Kale nodded. Yes. But we must hurry.
If the being inside the storm fully awakens.
Ro swallowed hard.
What happens? Kale looked out the window at the dark stars ahead. It won't destroy the universe.
A pause.
It will rewrite it.
Lyra stood tall.
Then we won't let it.
Artemis 12 powered up and sped toward Earth.
The true battle for the universe was just beginning. The storm above the hidden world began to rage again. The roar of the cosmic winds vibrated through the ground, sending ripples through the glowing sand. The sky flickered with impossible colors, blues that pulsed like heartbeats, reds that spiraled like living fire, and silver threads that wove themselves across the horizon as if sewing new patterns into reality.
Kale, Myra, and Orin looked up with worry. The protectors had warned them. The storm was not just a natural phenomenon.
It was a guardian force, a boundary between two realms. If it grew too strong, it could collapse the fragile bridge the humans had used to enter this hidden world.
Myra felt her pulse quicken. "We need to hurry," she said.
"If the storm fully awakens, we'll be trapped here forever." Kale looked around at the ancient structures, the glowing creatures, and the floating crystals that hummed peacefully despite the chaos above. A part of him wanted to stay, not because of the beauty, but because of the secrets. He had always been drawn to the unknown, to places untouched by human hands.
But he knew this world was not meant for them.
They were guests in a place that had existed long before humanity learned to look at the stars.
Orin stepped forward. "We should go back to the protectors.
They'll know what to do."
The ground trembled beneath them.
It felt like something enormous was moving deep below, shifting the layers of the world. The air shimmered as bright currents of energy rose from cracks in the ground. It was as if the world itself was breathing harder, reacting to the storm's fury.
Kale nodded.
"Then let's move.
We don't have much time." The three walked quickly along a path marked by floating crystal shards.
When they approached, the crystals gently drifted aside and rearranged themselves, forming a glowing trail.
It was as if the world wanted to guide them home.
But as they moved, the storm grew louder, like thunder mixed with whispers.
Myra winced. The noise seemed to speak directly into her mind.
"Do you hear that?" she asked, clutching her head. Kale and Orin exchanged a look.
They heard only the rumbling. Myra swallowed. "It's warning us, or calling us."
"I'm not sure which." Orin touched her shoulder.
"Just hold on.
We're almost there." They reached the grand chamber where they had first met the protectors.
But something was different now. The crystal pillars were dimmer.
The air felt heavier. And the great guardian being who had spoken to them earlier was kneeling, its light flickering like a dying flame.
Kale stepped forward. "What's happening?"
"Is the storm breaking through?" The guardian lifted its faintly glowing eyes. "The boundary is weakening faster than expected," it said.
Its voice was softer but still echoing.
"Your presence here has changed the balance. Even the smallest touch of human energy reshapes the storm."
Myra shook her head. "We didn't mean to cause harm."
"You caused no harm," the guardian replied calmly. "Your arrival simply woke parts of the storm that have slept for ages."
Orin glanced upward.
"Is there a way back for us?"
"Yes," the guardian said. "But the path will soon close."
"You must leave before the storm fully opens its eye."
Kale frowned. "Its eye."
The guardian nodded slowly. "There is a core within the storm," it explained. "An ancient consciousness. A watcher. It observes all who enter this realm. If it wakes completely, it will not allow you to leave. It protects this world from all who do not belong."
Myra felt fear tighten her chest.
"Then we need to go now." The guardian extended its hand. A small orb of white-blue light formed in its palm. "This will guide you through the storm's veil," it said.
"Follow it without hesitation."
"The storm will try to confuse you, to separate you, to draw you deeper into its illusions." Kale reached out but paused.
"What about your world?
Will it be safe?"
"For now," the guardian replied. "But more storms will come. And more secrets will rise.
Perhaps one day your kind will return, not by accident, but with understanding."
Kale took the orb firmly.
"We'll remember," he promised. The orb drifted forward, expecting them to follow. The trio ran after it as the ground cracked behind them. The colors of the storm bled downward, dripping like liquid lightning that sizzled when it touched the surface. They reached the entrance portal, but it didn't look the same as before. Instead of a stable ring of energy, it pulsed erratically, sometimes shrinking to the size of a coin, sometimes expanding into a swirling vortex. Orin gulped. "This looks dangerous." "Everything here is dangerous," Myra whispered. "But staying is worse." The orb floated into the center of the unstable portal. A beam of white light burst outward, temporarily stabilizing the swirling edges.
"Go!" Kale shouted. Myra stepped forward first. But just as she approached, the storm above flashed violently. A beam of red lightning shot down and hit the ground a few feet away, sending her stumbling. "Myra!" Kale yelled, grabbing her arm. She steadied herself, heart pounding, then jumped into the portal. Her body vanished into a wave of light. Orin followed quickly, disappearing into the glow. Kale looked back one last time at the vast hidden world, the floating islands, the glowing creatures, the calm yet mysterious expanse. "Thank you," he whispered to the unseen beings. And without another second, he leapt into the portal. As Kale disappeared, the storm roared so loud that the entire cavern shook. The portal snapped shut like a door slammed by an invisible hand. The cosmic winds spiraled downward in furious circles, searching for the trespassers who had escaped. But the humans were already gone. The hidden world sighed with relief, though its crystals dimmed with exhaustion. The storm above calmed slowly but not fully. It pulsed softly, as if remembering their presence. Far away, deep in the storm's core, something older than time shifted. Its eye had opened. Its gaze remained fixed on the path the humans had taken. The trio emerged from the portal into the cold void of space. Artemis 12 floated silently among familiar stars, yet the feeling of relief was shadowed by a sense of urgency. They were safe, for now, but the storm's warning had been clear. The universe itself was unsteady, and something ancient had been stirred. Kale leaned against the ship's railing, hands glowing faintly with the residual energy of the primal lattice. "We barely made it," he whispered. "And the storm, it's still awake." Myra walked over. "You're right. I felt it watching us all the way back. Not just observing, judging." Orin shook his head. "Judging? Or waiting?" Kale frowned. "Whatever it is, it's patient. Much older than we are. Far more intelligent than we can imagine." Lyra stood at the bridge, her eyes on the distant earth. "Then we need to act fast. The lattice gives us a chance, but if that being fully awakens, we can't outrun it. We have to prepare, now." The primal lattice hummed quietly in the containment field. Kale touched it gently, feeling its immense power. "It's incredible, but it's unstable. We can't just store it, we need to start using it." Myra looked at him nervously. "Using it how? We don't even know how to build the first stabilizer." Kale's jaw tightened. "We know the designs. The Vault Core left them in my mind. But creating one requires material only found in the cores of dead neutron stars, and we'll need several of them." Orin grimaced. "Neutron stars? Those things could crush our ship in a heartbeat." Lyra nodded firmly. "Then we find a way. If the universe is decaying and the storms are spreading, we don't have a choice." Kale whispered, almost to himself. "And the being, it's not going to wait. Every second counts." After hours of calculation and mapping, Kale identified the nearest neutron star suitable for extraction. It was located in a remote cluster on the edge of map space, in a system called Zypherian 4. "We'll need a special drone," Kale said. "One capable of withstanding the star's gravity and extracting the primal lattice safely." Myra nodded. "We can modify the mining drone from the last mission. It's risky, but it's the only way." Ro ran through simulations. The extraction window is extremely narrow. If the star core detects interference, it will collapse, or worse, react defensively. Lyra placed her hand on the console. "Then we go prepared for both. Extract, survive, and get back before the being reacts." Artemis 12 approached Zypherian 4 carefully. The neutron star was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its surface shimmered with impossible energy, and waves of gravitational force distorted the space around it. Ro guided the ship. "Stabilizers at maximum. Any sudden movement and we're done." Kale monitored the lattice sensors. "It's resonating with the star already. The primal lattice here is ancient, older than the vaults. If we can secure it, the first stabilizer might be possible." Myra deployed the drone, which hovered just above the star's surface. The device extended its mechanical arms, ready to interface with the core. Suddenly, a pulse erupted from the star. Red-hot plasma surged outward like a wave. Alarms blared on Artemis 12. Ro yelled, "Drone shields failing. Pull it back." Kale closed his eyes and reached out psychically through the neural interface. He projected his thoughts into the drone, guiding its movements with sheer willpower. The arms latched onto the core, and a small fragment of glowing primal lattice broke free, floating gently into containment. Kale gasped.
We did it. First fragment secured. As they retreated, Artemis 12's sensors picked up an anomaly in the distance. The storm near Earth was no longer just a storm, it had formed a colossal spiral, almost like a living eye. Kale whispered, "It's aware of the lattice extraction. The being knows we've taken something from the stars."
Ro's voice trembled.
"How fast is it moving?" Kale studied the readings. "Faster than we've ever seen anything move. It's heading toward the solar system."
Myra swallowed hard.
"Then we need to hurry. Earth, it won't survive another encounter."
Lyra stood at the bridge.
"Prepare the ship for FTL travel. Our next target is a second neutron star, farther away, even more dangerous. We have no choice." Kale monitored the storm as Artemis 12 jumped into FTL. The view outside warped into streaks of light, but even faster than the stars, he sensed the being's awareness. "It's not just a watcher," he whispered. "It's moving, thinking. Its consciousness spans light years, and it knows every disturbance in space."
Myra looked at him nervously.
"Then it will come for us."
Kale nodded grimly. "Yes.
And if it catches us unprepared, it could undo everything. Not just the storm, it could erase worlds."
Ro shivered.
"So we're building weapons for survival?"
Kale shook his head. "Not weapons. Stabilizers.
"If we use them correctly, we don't fight it.
We contain the decay.
We preserve the universe." Lyra's voice was steady, determined.
"Then that's what we'll do.
Build the stabilizers, secure the lattice fragments, and stop the Ancient One before it can awaken fully." Outside, the stars streaked past. But in the distance, the storm above Earth continued to twist and pulse. And in its core, something old and immeasurably powerful had begun to open its eye completely. Artemis 12 raced through the void. The first primal lattice fragment glowed softly in its containment field, illuminating the bridge with pale blue light. Kale studied the readings constantly, his mind still faintly buzzing from the previous extraction. "The second star is far more unstable," Kale warned. "Its gravity alone could tear the ship apart if we make even a small miscalculation." Lyra gripped the console. "Then precision is key. Every movement must be exact."
Ro frowned at the navigation screen.
"I've never flown through a gravity well this strong. Even a slight misstep could mean destruction." Myra tightened her grip on her seat.
"And the storm near Earth?
Is it getting closer?" Kale glanced at the sensors.
"Yes. Its movements are faster now. It knows we've taken one fragment.
And it's beginning to focus on us."
Lyra's jaw tightened.
"Then we move fast, but carefully. The universe isn't giving us time to make mistakes." They arrived at the second neutron star, a massive sphere of pure energy, barely stable in its orbit. Its surface shimmered violently, radiating intense gravitational waves. Ro shouted over the alarms, "Shields at maximum. We're barely holding the approach." Kale focused on the lattice sensors. "This core is the key. The fragment here is much larger. We must synchronize with it mentally, like last time."
Myra frowned. "Kale, are you sure you can do it again?
The energy almost killed you before."
He nodded grimly. "I have no choice. This one is crucial."
The first fragment is not enough to stabilize the universe. Artemis 12 deployed the enhanced extraction drone. It floated above the neutron star's surface, arms extended to interface with the core. Immediately, the star pulsed violently. Waves of energy buffeted the ship, tossing it like a leaf in a hurricane.
Kale closed his eyes and activated the neural interface chamber. "I'm linking with the drone. Guide it with my mind."
Myra and Ro watched anxiously as his body trembled.
His eyes glowed faintly blue.
The ship shook under the star's gravitational pull, alarms blaring continuously. The drone's arms touched the star's surface. A burst of energy shot upward, forming a halo around the vessel.
The star core reacted violently, its pulses aligning with Kale's mind.
Blue streams of light connected him, the drone, and the primal lattice fragment. Kale gasped as knowledge flooded his consciousness. The star's history, its formation, its energy pattern, the hidden architecture of the lattice. He saw a vision of the universe stretching and fracturing, then stabilizing through the fragments. Ro yelled over the alarms. "Captain, the drone's shields are failing." Kale focused harder. "Almost there. I can feel the fragment giving in, just a little more." With one final mental push, the glowing fragment detached cleanly from the neutron star core.
It floated gently into the containment field on Artemis 12. Kale slumped back, exhausted.
Done, second fragment secured.
Suddenly, sensors flared.
A massive gravitational pulse radiated from the direction of the storm near Earth. The readings were unlike anything they had seen before, waves moving faster than light, distorting space itself.
Kale's face turned pale.
The being, it's moving.
It knows.
The storm, it's rising like a living thing.
Rose swallowed hard.
Then it's coming here.
Yes, Kale said, voice trembling.
And if it reaches the solar system fully awake, it won't just destroy the planets. It will restructure reality itself.
Myra's hands shook.
Then what do we do?
Kale studied the 2 lattice fragments in their containment.
We need at least one more. And we need to begin the first stabilizer before it reaches Earth.
Lyra nodded firmly. Then there's no turning back. Prepare the course to the 3rd neutron star.
This time, we must be faster and smarter. As Artemis 12 leapt into FTL, Kale monitored the storm. It had formed a massive eye of energy, glowing like a living orb, its center blacker than space itself. The outer edges crackled with energy that stretched light years. It's watching every move we make, Kale whispered. It knows where the fragments are, it knows where we're going next.
Ro frowned.
How can anything that big and powerful even exist?
Kale shivered.
It isn't a thing, not in the human sense.
It's older than the universe.
It's alive, and it's aware of every imbalance.
Myra swallowed hard.
Then we're not just racing against time. We're racing against intelligence.
Lyra set her jaw.
Then we make every second count. Our survival, and the universe, depends on it. Outside the ship, stars stretched into streaks as they jumped into FTL.
Behind them, the storm's eye pulsed brighter than ever.
Kale whispered, almost to himself, it's awake, and it's coming. Artemis 12 emerged from FTL near the 3rd neutron star. Unlike the previous 2, this one pulsed violently with energy that distorted space around it. Streams of radiation spiraled into the void like fiery rivers. The star seemed almost alive, aware of the intruders approaching its core.
Ro tightened his grip on the controls.
Captain, this star is far more unstable than the others. Any mistake and it'll collapse on us.
Kale stared at the lattice fragments in their containment field. We have no choice. This fragment is the last one we need.
The first stabilizer can't work without it. Myra stepped beside him, worry etched on her face. Just like the first time, you'll have to interface with it directly.
Kale nodded grimly. Yes.
And I know the risks.
Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. Then we do this together. We've survived this far. We'll survive this.
The enhanced drone hovered above the star, its arms ready to interface with the core. Immediately, the star pulsed violently, reacting to their presence. Gravity waves shook the ship violently, alarms screaming.
Kale entered the neural interface chamber.
As his consciousness projected toward the star core, he felt the lattice energy envelop him, stronger than anything he had experienced. The core communicated in feelings, impressions, and flashes of knowledge, far beyond human language. Myra and Ro watched anxiously as Kale's body trembled, eyes glowing bright blue. Steady.
Kale, Myra whispered.
You can do this. He nodded weakly, mentally reaching out to synchronize with the core. Slowly, the primal lattice fragment detached and floated toward containment.
A surge of energy hit the ship. Artemis 12 rocked violently. Red sparks flew from consoles.
Kale gasped, but he held the connection, guiding the fragment safely into the field.
Kale slumped, exhausted.
Done, 3rd fragment secured. With all 3 fragments aboard, Kale's mind raced through the instructions from the vault core. He began assembling the first stabilizer using the lattice energy as a core. The structure glowed with pulsating blue light, wires and conduits extending outward, forming spirals, arcs, and spheres, the design of the ancient makers. Myra assisted with the power calibrations.
We need this perfect, she said.
One mistake and it could fail, or worse. Ro added, and if the being from the storm detects it before activation.
Kale looked up, glowing faintly.
Then we have to activate it before it can react. Timing is everything. Lyra stood over them, giving direction. Let's finish this. The universe is waiting.
Outside the ship, the storm above Earth had grown enormous.
Its eye glowed like a black sun,
the swirling energies crackling across space. It seemed alive, stretching and bending reality itself. Fragments of debris and energy from the storm extended into the void, moving unnaturally fast toward the solar system. Kale watched the readings.
It's aware of our work.
It senses the stabilizer fragments.
Myra shivered.
Then we have no time left.
Lyra nodded.
Activate it as soon as possible. We can't wait any longer. Kale placed the final lattice fragment into the stabilizer core. Energy surged outward, binding the three fragments together. The stabilizer began to hum, pulsing in sync with the ship, then resonating with the universe itself. A ripple passed through space as the first stabilizer came alive. Colors shifted unnaturally, violet, gold, and blue streaming like ribbons of light across the void. Kale's body glowed, fully connected to the stabilizer. It's working, but I can feel it. The being knows we've begun. Suddenly, a wave of energy erupted from the storm. The eye opened wider, stretching toward Artemis, 12 like a massive, living hand. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring. Rose shouted, "It's trying to stop us." Kale focused, sending his consciousness through the stabilizer and toward the storm. Energy met energy, mind against mind. The being's presence was immense, older than time itself. Its gaze, a black void of understanding, pierced Kale's mind. Myra called out, "Kale, you can do this." Kale forced himself to push forward. The stabilizer's energy expanded outward, forming a protective lattice that stretched like invisible threads across space, connecting the fragments. Light rippled through the storm, slowing its movements, stabilizing the distortions. The being roared, a soundless wave of awareness that shook space itself. But it could not penetrate the stabilizer's protective field. Gradually, the storm's chaotic movements slowed. The black eye began to contract. Pulses of energy calmed. The storm's fury diminished, and the solar system was safe, for now. Kale collapsed from exhaustion. Myra rushed to him. "Are you okay?" He weakly smiled. It worked, the first stabilizer held. Ro looked out at the distant storm. "It's contained, but it's not gone." Kale shook his head. "No. The being is still out there, older than we are, waiting. We've slowed it. We've bought time. But this is only the beginning." Lyra placed her hand on Kale's shoulder. "Then we keep going. We finish the stabilizers, and we protect the universe." Kale nodded faintly. "Yes, the Maker's work continues, through us." Outside, the storm still pulsed faintly, a reminder that the universe contained forces far beyond human comprehension. But for the first time, humanity had a chance.